Hello everyone, my name is Ian, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is May 12th, 2025, and Bitcoin is likely to have begun a downwards trend. Okay, so we're going to look at that. Is it true that Bitcoin has just now begun a downwards trend? Where should we expect this trend to go? Where are the immediate, intermittent, or intermediate levels of support? And what effect does this have on the altcoin space? All that and more in this episode, guys. I hope you're well. Let's get started with Bitcoin on the hourly time frame. So, we talked about this for a while. Actually, let's zoom out for a second. This is something we've been talking about for quite a long time. This is 155 days in the making. So for a lot of amateur chartists, people who don't really look at charts, people who don't really do analysis, this doesn't really mean anything because it's it's just the beginning, so you can't see it. But in the context of our larger analysis, this 155-day Wyckoff distribution, more likely than not, where the price went all the way up here, went sideways, back up, we know with a high degree of probability this is our target. So what is our target? On the weekly time frame, you can see this descending broadening wedge. I forgot how long it is. It is a approximately 220-day descending broadening wedge that we formed in March of last year. The top resistance of it, when broken in October of 24, was never retested. Okay? So that is where we get our retest of between 65 and 70K, and actually maybe down to 60K if you see, right, the descending broadening wedge has a resistance that would be at this point, if it hit now, at around 60K. So 65 to 70K, 60 to 70K, thereabouts. In addition to that level, 60K being the top of the descending broadening wedge of 220 days, 60K or thereabouts, 60 to 70K, let's say, that region of price action is also our high time frame resistance of 4+ years that we formed starting in 2021. That has yet to be duly retested, okay? Because when you broke up and out in October of 24 from that descending broadening wedge, you come up, and all that 155 days culminates in a retest of this massive inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. That starts your bull market rally in Bitcoin and in the larger cryptocurrency market. So this has been the analysis on this channel for quite some time. Again, if you're myopic, if you're only relegating your analyses to, a few daily time frames, you're only looking at some regional price action, what you're seeing here on the hourly time frame, on the 4-hourly time frame, may not mean much. It may just be, much ado about nothing. You have Crypto Kid on Twitter and Crypto Rover, they're like, ha ha ha, Bitcoin is breaking down, Crypto, laughing and saying, ah ha ha, Bitcoin is breaking down, like you guys are stupid. This is a big deal right here. This was the last hope for any continued bullish momentum, right? Granted, this also represented relatively the top of our Wyckoff distribution channel, right? As you can see here, this is the top resistance, this area of our 155-day Wyckoff distribution channel. But also, if, like I said in the last video, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, what you want to see is not a breakout from here because nothing has been retested in this pattern. What you want to see is a retest of the midline here, then a breakout, right? So some people also may believe that, yes, indeed, Dean, I concur. This is exactly my final target for Bitcoin to the downside around 97K. But again, that is myopic. Obviously, this is a daily show. We do frequent updates, so I'm not always going to be looking at the weekly charts. I have that context in mind when I'm doing my analysis, when I'm looking at the charts. This is just a 4-hourly daily time frame, but in the context of everything, this is the final breakdown of the distribution channel all the way down to our target to between 60 and 70K. Okay, so the weekend, I want to say something about the weekend. So I said, I think in the last video I said I expected the dump to happen on the weekend because we typically get sideways stuff or dumps on the weekend, but we didn't get the dump on the weekend, and I should have known because this is going to be a consequential move down. The sentiment is such that the market is in disbelief that this is going to happen. I know some people have said 60 to 70K, but you know, when the price goes up, people are saying, oh, we're only 3% away from all-time high. We're only 2% away from all-time. People look at price and not price action. This almost 4-day wedge breaking down is a big deal because now what it's doing is it's initiating downward trending price action. The market hasn't trended. And when I say trended, the market hasn't properly trended since we were here, the end of 2024. That's the last time the market was properly trending. And when I say properly trending, you can see it's just subsequent higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. You're not going side to side. You're largely going up. Now the market's going to be trending, but in the opposite direction. That's balance. This is normal. This is healthy. Has nothing to do with trade deals. Has nothing to do with policies. Like, this is why we do chart analysis. And we don't, roll the dice and hope and pray that somebody tweets something and makes a deal on something. It is complete garbage. Look at the chart. It's in there. It's been there for years. Now, if it's going to trend down, what can you expect? And how should you play it? Well, do expect the market to generally just, not in a straight line, but gradually tumble down to that ultimate target. In the meantime, you can go ahead and do your best guess as to where you find intermediate support, but don't put too much emphasis on intermediate support levels in a trending market. That's one thing I'll say. Just expect the trend to continue and try not to get in the way of the trend or go against the trend. For Bitcoin, okay? I'm talking about Bitcoin. And even this applies to altcoins. We'll get to altcoins in a second, but respect the trend. If this is true, if this analysis is correct, respect the trend until it gets to the ultimate level where you believe the final support should be found. Okay? Respect the trend. This is all I'll say, right? Don't necessarily believe, oh, it must be over because this, that, and the third, or it's bouncing. No. Like, the market can bounce, and then because it's in a trend, 2 seconds later, it resumes its dump, right? Nothing goes in a straight line. Bounces a bit, dumps. Bounces a bit, dumps. This is why it's called a trend. And this is why trends are easy to play, relatively speaking, from a trading perspective. You're longing, you're shorting, right? But you don't always get trends. Most of the time, the market's going side to side, which is tricky. Chops a lot of people out. But in trends, we can print up or down. All right, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. 4-hourly time frame. Oh yeah. Let me talk about my my levels of intermediate support. Again, do not put too much emphasis on this. This is just my best guess. If it's a trend, the first thing in your mind should be, it's just going to puke, because it can puke seemingly in one fell swoop. Very unlikely. Most times things don't go in a straight line. But if it were to bounce, here are some key levels in my estimation. Around 86K. Don't pay attention to this wave 3, wave 4. It is relatively insignificant, because the retracement of wave 4 is not that important for you to calculate this. The only bounce you should be even remotely interested in for positioning sake or just strategy sake, I don't know what you're doing. You could be trading leverage, you could be spot positioning, I don't know, you could be using it as a reference point for altcoins, is wave 1 and wave 2. So right now we're in wave 1. Wave 2, remember, bounces 62% of wave 1. So that's really what I want to focus on as an analyst, catching wave 1 and wave 2, or knowing where wave 1 and wave 2 are likely to hit. So if I'm targeting the midline, and oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, look at our channel trade right here. It's textbook. Okay, you spent 4 days going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. People got really bullish here and it pulled all the way back, retested the midline of this 4-day channel, then puked. Just like we always say, top of the channel, hit. Comes all the way to the bottom, tests the midline, boom, that's it. And then obviously, at some point in time, you hit on the smaller time frame the bottom of that channel. So the intermediate, so wave 1, I think, ends here around 86. And I only say that, and again, take that with a grain of salt. Don't bet your life savings on it or anything like that. It's just where I believe you may get some intermediate support. And actually, that's a bit important for the altcoin discussion, which is coming up just after this. But I see on my charts price action showing me resistance at this level. So if we go up and come back down, that previous resistance will be intermittent support. Furthermore, if I take my Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom of this trend all the way to the top, I see that my purported wave 1 lands in and around the phi ratio, the 0.618. I think it comes a little below. What I typically tend to see is when, and I've been on the other side, where I'm convinced this is just the retracement and that's all she wrote. Okay, I don't recognize the larger trend. I've been caught unawares so many times. So naturally, I see this as a trending market and then a counter trend. So I'm betting on the 0.618 to be the ultimate support level. And maybe I hide my stops at the 7.4, right above the 7.86. And what does it do? Invariably, if I'm incorrect and the trend is going to continue, price shows me that by coming to the 7.4 and then flirting with the 7.86. So again, everything in this region tells me that this is likely, based off the Fibonacci analysis that I just did, based off of this previous price action, I think around 86 is likely to be a place where you get a relatively large bounce. A lot of people are going to be mistaken in thinking that it's over, but what's going to happen here is more likely than not, and let me zoom in because you probably can't see anything. What's more likely to happen is that when we come down here to this level, you're going to come all the way up and retest some aspect of this right here, because we spent a decent amount of time in this ascending grinding wedge, about 15 days, broke up from it, right, and breaking down through it. Maybe we retest the midline of it, and a breakdown all the way down to around 86 would make it so that wave 2 being 62% retracement lands around the midline. So that's all the reasons I think 86 is more or less my target for wave one. Again, that's not that important. Please don't, bet your life savings on that. There's a trend. That's what you should know. That's what you should be really putting first and foremost in your minds, that Bitcoin is invariably focused on reaching 60 to 70K, and by hook or by crook, it's going to go there impulsively. And so your best bet is to get out of the way if you can. Now, what does this have to do with altcoins? How are altcoins going to be affected? Are altcoins just going to puke the whole time? I don't believe so. And this has been my thesis all along on this channel. They can't, because altcoins are generally on support. So here is where I believe you're going to see a big move out of altcoins. Once we hit that level, whatever wave one rests on, wherever wave one finds support, that wave two retracing 62% is where a lot of altcoins are going to fly, move, get out of the way for the impending largest retracement of wave three. Okay, and wave three again is the according to Elliott wave analysis, is the largest, the strongest, the most impulsive of the trending waves in a 5-wave sequence. So I think this is where most altcoins find support. Most, not all. There's some altcoins that have a long way to go, and they're just going to do what Bitcoin does, which is go up for 2 and then keep going for 3. But a lot of altcoins that are already close to support or on support are going to make higher highs. And so when they retrace, they're going to make higher lows. Okay? So let's look at altcoins, and let's use the total 3 chart. Okay. So altcoins, like I said, they're close to support. Sorry, one second. Let me fix my screen. Altcoins are close to support, and you can see this here. Okay. Altcoins went all the way up here. So let's fix our chart a bit. Let's get rid of these. And I'm sorry, I should have done this before, but I'm doing everything with y'all. All right. So altcoins hit that high. And what do I have here? What is this? Oh, okay. This is what I predicted last time I fixed this. That's why I put an alarm there. Anyway, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. So you have altcoins breaking out from, I believe it's 90 days, the 90-day teal descending broadening or descending wedge, this bull flag, breaking out from the top. What does it have to do? It has to come all the way back down and retest the top of this 90-day channel. Okay, so that is your typical breakout and retest move, where you come back a minimum of 79% of your breakout, right? That's just a typical flat correction. Do you see? So you're pretty much giving up all the gains. On some assets like Ethereum, you're probably going to make a lower low from where you broke out of, because it's a descending wedge like we looked at 2 videos ago. So altcoins, generally speaking, are going to retrace till they get here. So that is what I'm seeing. So you have this breakout, and now this retracement. That retracement, I believe, is going to coincide with wave 2. Okay? No. Sorry. With wave 1. Wave 2 is going to coincide with the first major breakout of alt season, which is going to make higher highs in a lot of altcoins. Meanwhile, It's just making a higher low in the Ethereums of the world, the Bitcoins of the world, the XRPs of the world, the Solanas of the world. I hope that's not too complicated. Obviously, we can look at specific charts and make it more clear, but this is not really the place to do that. Generally speaking, if you've been following the analysis, I'm just repeating the same thing, but I'm doing it as we see price actually respond to the analysis, or actually play out the analysis. And it's just that this is the initial breakout. You get a retest. The initial breakout usually retests more than most people think, because most people aren't really envisioning they don't know what a flat correction is or a 79% correction. They're like, wait, where are all my gains? I thought we were breaking out. But most people don't really think about the first breakout being a retest. So it's not necessarily a breakout for gains. It's a breakout to test the market. And then the initial breakout after that, 1, 2, 3, is the first breakout for gains. So I think wave 1 gives you this retest. So after wave 1 is finished and finds support, some altcoins, not all, some altcoins that are on support, you will make higher highs. Let me give you an example. A Cardano or a Litecoin. You will make higher highs. And then when Bitcoin goes and finishes wave 2 and goes into wave 3, you're going to be coming and retracing from much higher levels, so it's not going to break those charts. I hope this wasn't too crazy complicated. Hope this made sense. Obviously, I don't have time to go over individual charts. That's I'm guessing you're keeping up with the analyses as I publish them. And if you're interested in my looking at a specific asset, doing analysis for a specific request that you have, that's where the crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service comes into play. You can sign up for that at the pinned comment below, and I'll go over up to 5 different assets with you that are likely to pump in this coming bull market, and we can look at those assets and where we should likely take profit, where we should rebuy, and all that stuff. So again, pinned comment below has the sign up link for that. And that's pretty much it. Like, share, and subscribe if you've got value. Consider tipping me, Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App as usual. Guys, take care. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful.
Seems I wake in the days
And
while the
I'll see you
world
next
spins without me. Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon its glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Yeah.
And it looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, and like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better. Don't letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all.